we mentioned last episode about the Jedi Council saying, "Oh, you're full of fear and worry." That Anakin is intensely stroppy, isn't he? At this point, he's like,
so teenage.
Oh, he really is teenage, isn't he? Yeah, he comes across as being a bit older than teenage. But what is he meant to be like 19 in this, or maybe 20?
Not sure.
That's all. I started this and I thought to myself, right, open mind this time. This is one of your most disliked films. It started off, and do you know what? Just as a first view, I thought to myself, I really kind of enjoyed the style of it. I'd forgotten it's got that kind of 50s noir detective thriller style.
It feels very Flash Gordon, old style Flash Gordon influences on it.
I quite like that actually. Go on, sorry.
Shall we start from the beginning?
Go on.
And whiz through it.
Yes, go on.
We're going to pick this. We're going to be.
Again,
like we said on the Phantom Menace one.
Yeah, it's all Star Wars.
We love it. It's Star Wars, but we pick it anyway.
Yeah.
It says about the mysterious Count Dooku in the opening credits.
Yes.
But he's not mysterious. Everyone knows who he is.
Everybody knows who he is.
Yoda trained him. Dooku trained Qui-Gon. We know that.
Yeah. Didn't.
That's said in the film.
Yes.
So at the start, it's mysterious, to me watching this film for the first time. But to nobody else, it's not the mysterious Count Dooku. He's not mysterious at all. He's just a Jedi that's left the Jedi Order at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
So that, and I made me notes as I was watching it.
Yeah.
Palpatine is acting so suspiciously weird in this compared to Episode 1.
He really is, isn't he?
Episode 1, I'd mentioned how he's doing that kind of House of Cards, smirky a little bit, and like, we know he's up to no good, but no one else knows around him. In this, he's acting so suspiciously and weird and creepy already.
Do you know?
And then at the end, when they say something like, someone's told them that the Sith have infiltrated, and Dooku says it. There's a Sith controlling the Senate, and the Jedi are like, no, it can't be. A Sith controlling the Senate. Oh, who could that be? Just think, well, who controls the Senate that's not on the Jedi Order that's been acting suspicious and weird? Oh my God, he's so stupid. How can you not see him? He's acting proper creepy and weird.
And how does he shield himself from the senses
That's the dark
of the Jedi?
side.
Yeah.
Dark side's clouding that, because that's interesting. A bit later in the film, when they say something about, should we tell the council, the Senate or something? He said, should we tell them that we're basically not as good as we were? We're not as helpful because things are being clouded. We can't really trust things. And that's interesting. It's like their powers have been affected.
Yeah.
When you said, is Anakin a Padawan or not at this stage?
Yes. Yeah.
Of course he is, because Obi-Wan seems to say it every single time he talks to him.
It's
what
like
Obi-Wan
you're in
does
your
in
place.
this.
Yeah.
It's like me on this podcast going, every time I refer to you say, hello, Martin, the cousin of my wife.
And it just goes on and on.
And so it's like, my young Padawan, my young apprentice learner. And he keeps referring to it. He never just says, hi, Anakin. Hello, Anakin, my young Padawan. Why do you keep addressing me like that?
Is that intentional? Is that all because Anakin's constantly being reminded that he's less, reminded that he's not as good, he's not
I'm watching this with teacher eyes on, with teacher goggles.
Yes.
He is so belittling to Anakin in this as well.
He is, isn't he? So
I don't know if you meant to think, it's good. They're just, they're sparring, but they're really, really close. But like, even when he comes to train, he's so sarcastic when he comes to save him. It's like, oh, thanks for the rescue and stuff like that. You think, well, yours, mate.
We start off, don't we, with this assassination attempt on Amidala, and you've got those sort of little centipede things coming in, and then they're off and chasing it. There's a sound effect that I really can't replicate, and it's kind of like a that
it's a strange electric guitar on the soundtrack. That's what it is.
I absolutely loved it. I love seeing the city. I really like how it splits into these two way more than I expected to, and you've got Obi-Wan on this kind of detective story. He's going off that way, and Anakin, by the way, if we have any ladies listening to this, actually we haven't. We've got my mum and we've got Bex, right? Anakin's the weirdest, stalkeriest boyfriend. He's like, I dream about you every night, and he's like,
they've not seen each other for like 10 years, have they? At this point,
and he's like, I'm dreaming about you. I'm doing this. Oh, I get so angry all the time with Obi-Wan. I want to kill everybody. And she's like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go and ride around on some giant fleas on a grassland. Nice.
The bit where he's gone to protect her and he oversteps his mark, doesn't he? He's like, and Obi-Wan has to sort of like put him in step, doesn't he? He starts having a bit of a strop. Yeah, know your place. And then there's a scene when she's packing her bag and he's acting a bit stroppy and weird there. And she's like, you could tell even that scene, like Padme's a little bit like, okay, well, you know, I guess you've still got some more growing up to do. No chemistry between them at that point at all. Yeah, that car chase stuff I quite like, and I like when they go into the. I know you don't like sports bar, do you? Because it's too much. Is it you that said you don't like sports bar because it feels like a Earth location?
No,
okay.
no, not at all. No,
I must have heard. I thought you didn't like that.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I like, and like you say, the diner. I like Obi-Wan going off and doing his little detective thing with his like the dart, and he's trying to find it and stuff like that. And then him going off to Camino, and the two stories splitting are quite nice.
Do you know one thing I never got the first time? Don't ask me why I never got it. And as I said, I've said before, a lot of our listeners know I'm not the hardcore Star Wars fan. I love the way all the pieces are falling into place. It's this cloned army by who was it now? Master, is it Cyphus Diaz?
Cypher Diaz.
It's this clone army underway, but of course, you know, come on to episode 4. That's your Empire's army, and I love this slow, steady. Again, you mentioned Palpatine is pulling strings, and he's a bit pantomime now, and I'm sure in the next one he gets even more so. It's all these steps, because sometimes I can't know if it's in this one. I know it's in Phantom Menace, and Palpatine is like, well, all we need to do is get one person to take control. Who could that be?
And the camera and the camera cuts to Jar Jar going. Are they talking about me? They want me to do something. You pointed out that on his little detective adventure, and he goes off to
Camino.
Camino, is it the water planet?
Yes, I like that. And again, another planet, Rob, another planet that has only has one
it's
one
just
weather
water.
feature.
It's all water.
Yeah.
When they go into Django's apartment, his very, very tiny looking bedroom that he's got, someone's Boba Fett is called Boba.
So I've rewatched this, right, and the long, skinny-necked alien says,
Lama Sue or something.
Master Boba. Hello Boba. Is your father? And so she says Boba. Sorry, I'm gender identifying this alien here. They say Boba.
And Django says Boba.
He says Boba, go and close that door. You know, in some.
He says something to her. I'm not quite sure if he's meant to be talking like in a different language. He says something blah blah blah, something Boba, and Django calls him Boba.
Yes. So we're West Midlands
hand
accents.
Shot first. Django called him Boba. It's the new hand shot first.
Yeah, hashtag Django
first,
called him Boba. Right, we're starting that trending on Twitter tomorrow, Rob. So I like, again, I was finding on this, I liked a lot of these things more. I love the design of Obi-Wan's ship. Just fabulous. I actually like Amidala's ship with that sort of three-legged.
I like I like that they've got these little starfighters. So when they do any sort of like deep universe hyperspace travel, they've got those rings that they attach to, and it docks into the ring, and then they can go boosting off, and then they detach from the ring again.
The Mandalorian doesn't need that on his ship, does he?
I think that's really cool.
Here's something. I love sci-fi, and I love all these different universes we have. But what I absolutely love in this, it's like I'm going to Coruscant. I keep pronouncing Coruscant. I pronounced it different in the last episode, so I'm sorry. We're going back to Coruscant, and it looks like it's moments, hours. Wouldn't it be funny if you're going back to Coruscant and you're in hypersleep for 60 years? You know, it'd be quite nice, wouldn't it?
60 years later, every time they go back, the Mace Windu's older and older and older
because
and older and older.
They're just hopping in and out of hyperspace. So Django takes off with his son in the really difficult to take off Slave One. You're like lying on your back and everything. Those sonic mines are just wonderful, aren't they?
This whole section, I really like this section.
Yeah, I did as well.
I love where Obi-Wan's talking to Django, and Django's being proper sort of
stroppy,
suspicious with him, and he's sort of really frosty, and I'm just, not, I'm not answering any questions to you. You can say he just dislikes him straight away. That fight in the rain, I really like, because you got jetpack and laser guns and flamethrowers, and then you got a Jedi with a sword. So you would think it's not going to be a sword fight or a shootout. It's like a mixture of the two.
Yeah.
And I like all that bit when they're all fighting in the rain. And
it's one of my favourite tropes there, and that's a slippy roof scene. So in this case, all that
really
stuff.
Good. Again, some of the bits of the CGI look a bit wobbly now, but it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, those sonic mines, the silence. You see the explosion, then it goes boom.
I'm a real sucker for asteroid fights. Any kind of flying in asteroids, which I think we're going to get an Empire, aren't we?
I like the way. You see, Boba Fett's got like a bit of a bloodlust already, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, get him, Dad.
Get him, Dad. Kill him, Dad. It's like, steady on, son. So all that stuff with the Django versus Obi-Wan in the middle. That's all cool.
Rob, I was hit with a little bit of pure love for my wife and a bit of mansplaining as we were going on. So we were there, and she asked me a question about something. She was like, "Why is it there again on Camino?" And I said, "Oh, do you remember he found that data?" And then as we were talking, I then turned to her and I went, "Oh, sorry." I said, I might have talked over that bit, but you can see young Boba Fett there is a non-modified clone of Django." And she was like, "Yeah, I know." She said, "I've watched the book of Boba Fett, and he's a Mandalorian, isn't he?" And I was like, in Wayne's World, it's Dreamweaver. Brilliant. So they go off there. The Anakin Amidala stuff's really wooden. It doesn't do anything for me.
My daughter came in. I think my daughter's seen this. I think she's seen it before, and she was a bit busy. She had some homework to do, so she's kind of hung around for the middle bit, and she was laughing out loud at some of the lines, because she was like, she said, like, this acting and this script is so bad. And she's no film critic or anything like that. She just, like, her opinion of it was, this is silly. There's a bit where, because he takes her away and he's acting so stroppy all the time.
It's too much, isn't there?
And then the bit that she laughed at was when she's talking about a beautiful home world and stuff like that, and sitting on a beach, and he just goes, "I hate sand."
Oh,
and he's playing with something with his fingers. He's like, "I hate sand," and he flicks it like sand gets everywhere. And she laughed out loud. And I'm like, "You're right, it's so bad." And he just strokes her arm. But again, there's been no chemistry at this point between them. No. So with him, it just seems like unwanted attention. Just like, "Whoa, get off."
They're eating their dinner, and she's got a single pear for her dinner, and he's like, I'm going to force pull it over, cut it up for you, and send it back." I don't know any woman that would put up with that. She'd be like, "If you want the pear, take it. Stop messing with my food. You're being a dick."
When I'm with you, I can't breathe.
Oh, yeah, this is bad. And then she's like, "Right, well, I'm going to rescue Obi-Wan." So I was like, "Right, okay, fair enough." So this film went on.
Well, before she decides to go off, she says, "I'm going to go off rescuing Obi-Wan," you've got all the stuff with Shmi, haven't you, before then?
Of course. So
now, post Mandalorian, where Mandalorian is reinventing the Tusken Raiders as like some sort of indigenous tribe,
peace-loving people,
it's interesting. This, and I guess they can just say, well, there's different. They kind of hinted this in Mandalorian anyway. There's different types of tribes. They're not all going to be the same.
Yes.
But in this, they are quite animalistic, aren't they? I mean, they basically kidnapped this woman. And then she's, it's quite. Yeah, you think, well, what's been happening to her? Because she's basically tied to some sort of reverse crucifix type thing. Yeah, and like, well, they're pretty savage. These guys are.
So, I think we spoke about this off air, Rob, and on our last episode, I was saying, doesn't Anakin turn dark fairly quick? But I suppose, and we'll just go over it again, he was taken away from his mum as a little kid, taken somewhere, his mentor gets killed straight away, he's forced to watch him being burnt to death, his new master Obi-Wan, who doesn't really want him, belittles him all the time, he meets his girlfriend and he's a really weird stalker, then his mum has been sold as another slave by Watto with his weird Watto beard, I'm a tramp now type thing. Then his mum's been tortured and dies in his arms. So I suppose at that point he just goes apeshit, doesn't he? And that, I guess, is the foreshadowing of everything else that's coming.
I think the only thing is it's a little bit jarring where he's gone from is that very happy little yippee wizard kid in the first one, and in this one he's a stroppy teenager, isn't he? But yeah, it doesn't seem too bad. It's just his acting of being a stroppy teenager.
It's too intense.
When he's after he's come back from killing all the Tusken Raiders and he's having a little bit. He has another strop, doesn't he? He has a strop and he throws something across the room. He's like, "Oh, Obi-Wan's just holding me back," and then he admits the fact, and he's like, "I killed all of them. I killed all of them," which is quite a strong bit. That's one of his better bits in it when he's when he's crying and he's like, I just killed all these men, women, children, everything. Right, so. Padme's point of view, though, this is what ruined this moment for me. I was thinking about Hayden Christensen, as his chance to shine, but you've got this teenage stalker that keeps touching you and telling you how much he's obsessed with you. Just told you that he just killed a load of people. And she's
no,
there. It's okay, and she sympathises for him, doesn't she? Like she's a sucker for a bad boy.
Maybe, but Jesus, that's some bad boy there, isn't it? It's too much. It's too much. So where do we go next, Rob? We then go from there, don't we? They go to rescue Obi-Wan, yeah?
Yes. Have you noticed when he's on, is it Geonosis?
Yes.
Where all the bug people are?
Yeah.
So he's on Geonosis and he's spotted Dooku or something, doesn't he?
Yep.
He's things are amiss. Oh no, it's not at that bit. Or maybe it is, or is it the bit when he's in the rain? He asks R4 to send a message. He says via the old folks' home. Have you noticed that?
No, I know. Doesn't he send it via Anakin?
Yeah, but there's a bit, and I can't remember if it's when he comes out in the rain to tell them about he's just met Jango Fett. It might be after he's heard about Cypher Dyas and he sends a message. And it's ever so odd. He sort of says, send a message, blah blah blah, to something about the old folks' home, like his code name for Yoda and Mace Windu is the old folks' home.
Is it? I'm gonna have to rewatch. I didn't.
And
spot
I don't know
that.
if I've ever noticed it before, but he said it clearly says it.
Oh, I've got to look for that. I've got to look for that again. So
Droid Factory.
So
that's what we're coming up to now.
So hashtag Dooku was right. So I suppose because he's kind of right, isn't he? What he's saying is that there's corruption in the Senate.
Yes, but that that's from a bad guy that's corrupting it.
Yeah,
it's not the Jedi's fault. The corruption.
No, but Dooku is right. He's kind of right, isn't he? Of what's going to be happening. He said, what's his name? Newt Gunray came to me. He's got a Death Star plan hologram, hasn't he?
Mm.
And I'm like, actually, yeah. There's a lot of what Dooku is saying is kind of true. And it's kind of, I mean, there's a from a certain point of view. Well,
it's the thing they do. I mean, I don't buy it completely because I am pro Jedi, but
yeah, so am I.
But they do this with the Clone Wars cartoons. You get into Clone Wars cartoon, this idea that because they're trying to be peacekeepers, but then not a police force. They're not there to just do the council's bidding, but they're kind of they end up kind of becoming the Senate's police force, which is what they don't really want to be, and that's not what they're meant to be. And also, especially when you see something, I won't spoil it when you get into the Ahsoka storyline. There's stuff there where there's times when in the Clone Wars cartoons you're thinking, you know what, these Jedi's are a bunch of dicks.
Really? Well, the council isn't endearing themselves to me anyway. So, Rob, Droid Factory, I cannot tell you how jarring this is. It brought me way out of the story.
I don't mind this bit at all. I don't know what your big problem is.
It's just crap.
You joyless swine.
Are you trolling me here? It's so well again. So it's Galaxy Quest. It's Amidala or Padme. Oh, stop, pause, jump forward. Oh, it's R2. I quite like the bit with R2.
It's like a 2D SNES game or something.
It's if you were to cut out C-3PO from this entire film, that would work just right for me. It's just. I don't know why. It just doesn't work for me. It's crap. It's putting a head on a droid. It's just stupid. I hate it. I hate comedy droids are not for me. It drives me mad.
Yeah, see, I think the bit with C-3PO in the droid factory isn't as bad as the bit when they're outside in the battle and he says things and
I'm beside
it cuts to him and he
myself.
goes, "This is such a drag."
Yeah,
and then it cuts to him again, so I'm beside myself. Like someone's written them those little jokes and they're so pleased with themselves. Well, perhaps it's George Lucas and he's sniggering away, thinking, "Oh, I am so clever."
Yeah,
these hilarious
well,
little
the droid
jokes.
factory
We've got
is
to put
getting
these
me.
in.
Yeah, the droid factory is getting me. Clutching the arm of the sofa, and then that bit at the end is getting me throwing the controller at the telly.
See, the romance bit I thought was laughable. The droid factory bit doesn't bother me too much. In terms of the tea test, I don't think I'd left the room until the droid factory bit. And I think the droid factory bit is where it was starting to wobble on the tea test, because I just thought this bit doesn't anger me, but it doesn't do much for me. It's a bit pointless.
I made a cup of tea when Anakin was riding those giant fleas on that field.
Yeah,
that's just terrible. So the
CGI's dead dodgy on that bit.
It is terrible. So they sent. So it's then it's classic James Bond. Let's not just kill the Jedis and Amidala that we've got here. Let's tie them up and let them get eaten by wild animals. It's classic story trope.
It's okay. It's like a gladiator type Roman
reminds
gladiator
me of
thing.
something, and I don't know what it is. I know they copied it in the film John Carter. It's fine. It's fine. I quite like these ones, like a praying mantis type thing, and it kind of stabs. No,
I don't mind that.
That praying mantis, I'm sure, has got the same head as one of the pod racers. It's that sort of wide-mouthed grin type thing.
I think the cat with the weird big head looks a bit daft.
Yeah. Again, I like the fact that Padme Amidala, she's kind of quite spunky, and she gets herself climbing up a thing, and she does a few kicks and everything, and she's.
Have you noticed when she's climbing up and like the monster jumps up to get her, and it conveniently rips her sleeve off?
Yes.
Like Temple of Doom.
Yes.
I never really thought about that, but in Temple of Doom, when there's a bit where somebody grabs Indy and it just rips his right sleeve off.
Yeah, very good. And that's her Wilma Deering outfit, isn't it, from Buck Rogers? Do you remember that?
Yes, of course.
Oh God, Rob, there's a schoolboy crush. Wilma Deering in Buck Rogers. That's a story for another day. So yeah, they're getting out. It's the elongated death scene. It's just like, just kill him. But that's films, isn't it? It wouldn't be any fun.
Here's a little moment I picked up on. And again, this is just watching Mandalorian season 2 again. It is interesting watching this again because there's little things.
Yeah.
You know when the rhino thing is coming to Anakin,
yes,
and he kind of puts his hand in front of it like Crocodile Dundee to try and calm it down.
Yeah. Is that
just
the Rancor?
like Grogu does with the Rancor.
Oh, yes, there's some force.
Does Luke ever do? Have we seen anyone else do that with an animal? I don't know. We'll see as we work through the trilogy, I suppose.
I don't think so.
I just seen that sort of interesting to me. Just recently watching Grogu do it with the Rancor, and then see Anakin do it where they use the Force to control this angry animal.
Do you think?
I quite like that bit when they're fighting. I think it's good fun, and Obi-Wan's fighting that monster, and he's rolling it away, and it's snapping the stick in half with his teeth and all that stuff.
Do you think your personality shows what kind of Force user you are? So Grogu seems to be able to calm things down, doesn't he? And he's quite inoffensive, as in he's pulling bolts out of droids and stuff. Yoda seems to be good at everything. Anakin feels more anger and aggressive style, I think.
Mace Windu's meant to be the best swordsman, isn't he?
Is he? Right. I'm going to have to think about this as we go along. Like, are there different, different people have different Force ability, or are they better at different Force? Like anyone, everything, I guess. Yeah,
can a Jedi do lightning?
Can Rey do it? You can catch it with your lightsaber, can't you? So, I was listening to.
I think when you play Knights of the Old Republic computer game, that if you want to choke people and use lightning, you go to the dark side, and if you stay to the light side, you can't do those things. Like they're not allowed. But I'm not saying that's official or anything, but an Xbox game.
So when the clones turn up in their ships, and I've got to be honest, I thought that was the end of the film. That's where I remember this film ending, and I thought the rest of it was in the next film. So I was like, oh, I really like the camera work when the clones turn up. It's kind of handheld, shaky cam, zooming in on ships.
Well, I mean,
It's
even
very
before,
good. It's
well,
very
before
good.
even the clones turn up, it's great because Mace Windu just turning up and saying this party's over, and all the Jedi's fighting. You see all the Jedi's, just seeing loads of Jedi's at the same time is cool. Then they get outnumbered and circle,
Rob,
and then the clone troopers fall up.
Let me stop you there, right? There's a little bit, and I will have to find it and record it and send it to you.
Kit Fisto smiling.
Oh no, but yes, that's great. All the Jedi are turning up, and they're all sort of getting into battle pose. There's one of them there. Never seen a character before. I think it's a woman, and she does the Jodie Whittaker sonic screwdriver thing. It's like big arms up, overly dramatic pose, and I'm like, yeah, you can tell you're an extra. And you've said, just get yourself in a battle stance, and it's like, let's turn the actions up to 11.
I also noticed in the background, I never noticed before, there's a Jedi fighting with two lightsabers.
Oh.
To the right-hand side, and I don't remember noticing it before, and they're different colours.
I mean, I could watch this whole scene again. It was way better than I remembered. I enjoyed it a lot.
It's good. I remember at the time when someone told me that they never made a single clone trooper armour for the movie, that every single clone trooper in the whole film was CGI.
Really?
And I remember thinking, no, that's incredible. When you watch it now, they clearly are CGI, aren't they, the way they move and stuff like that. But at the time,
Roger, yeah, they really are, aren't they?
But when and the Republic gunships are cool, and
they are good, aren't they?
Shooting those big, the globy bits out the middle of the Trade Federation ships, that's cool.
I like the little gun turret on the side of the ships that the clone troopers in. And weirdly, in the game I'm playing at the minute, Fallen Order, we've just come across a ship that's landed, and it's got one of these little pods on the side. It's good. Very, very. In my notes here, I've got all of the clone troopers look like in-game CGI. They've got that CGI-ish feel. So then they go off. Amidala gets knocked out of the ship with a clone trooper to help her. Anakin's going ape shit, isn't he?
We're going to a bit now, which is interesting what our takes are going to be on this.
Yeah. So then it's the Count Dooku fight.
Anakin goes at him first.
Yep.
Hothead. It gets taken out pretty quick.
Fair enough, yeah.
Obi-Wan, that's a little.
He's a bit more measured,
his own a bit better.
And
It looks a bit odd. I found my eyes diverting to where they've obviously got a stunt double and then sort of CGI'd Christopher Lee's head on it.
Yeah,
which doesn't look great, but
this is that thing, isn't it? Is do you make your characters of a certain age? Do you make them like, say if you were good at fencing, for example. I'm no expert on sword fight, but say if you're good at fencing, you're not leaping in the air and doing somersaults, but you may be an excellent fencer, so you can block parry. I'm standing here doing the pose now, Rob. That to me would have been better rather than leaping around, jumping around in the air. And all sorts of
showing
stuff.
that they've got different fighting styles, I suppose.
Yeah. So Anakin would be sort of like a bit of a basher, isn't he? He's a hothead, whereas if Dooku is more focused, he's obviously a lot older. He's possibly better with the Force.
You do know what the number one move is, don't you? That you may have heard this before. I haven't come up with this. The number one move if you want to win a lightsaber duel.
What's that?
Use your Force to switch their lightsaber off.
Love it. I love it.
Have you not heard that before?
Isn't it the Snoke version where you just throw your lightsaber past them and then turn it on and pull it back? Fantastic. That again. You've got the Force. It's weird, isn't it? Because you've got Dooku there waving his hands, using the Force to. So he knocks over the guys, doesn't he? We've got Anakin's lost his hand or his arm. So again, Lucas is crazy on hands being cut off, isn't he? There's just something about him. So you've got all of that.
Does someone have their hand cut off in a Phantom Menace? Is there a limb loss in every single Star Wars film?
Darth Maul gets cut in half, doesn't he? So there's that.
So he loses whichever.
legs.
Well,
Let's say
two
legs.
limbs.
Yeah.
Or his legs lose his hands, whichever way you want to look at it.
We'll have to keep a note on this, Rob, as to limb loss in Star Wars films. It's got to be one in every film, I'm sure. Then Yoda turns up. What?
Yes.
What do you think of this?
I think it's awesome.
Do you? Do you love it?
Yes. You know what? I'm watching it and I know this is ridiculous. Him, and especially when he does a funny little noise, he's going, as he's jumping around like the Tasmanian devil. I know it's nuts, but it just puts a smile on my face. And I loved the cinema when he turns up hobbling and he opens his robe
cloak,
and he uses the Force to make his stick.
That's great.
He doesn't even pick up his lightsaber; it floats it to his hand, and then he starts spinning around like madly. Do you? I know at the time there was people that hated it when it came out.
I don't hate it. And the very first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, that's great!" Yeah, that pose and the lightsaber, that's great. I didn't love the bouncing around fighting. I think it's because I don't buy Christopher Lee in that much, and it's I like Yoda as a puppet more than a CGI character, so it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I always imagined this would be more a battle of the Force than their sword fighting skills, which kind of it comes to, doesn't it? And again, it's that fantastic trope of I'm going to put your friends in danger, and there's lots of
I do think it. Imagine if this was done in animation, where they could actually, you haven't got any budget.
Yeah.
Constraints or actor constraints, and they could have just gone nuts, and they could have been throwing ships at each other and all sorts.
Absolutely.
That'd have been cool.
Again, it's that thing, isn't it? So Dooku pulls down that giant pipe work, whatever it is, and Yoda's sort of there. Oh, I'm holding it, and actually, while he's doing that, Dooku could just stab him. So you could do all that, couldn't you? But again, it's you need plot progression, you need story to carry on, and then. And that's the end, really, isn't it? Everyone sort of gathers themselves up, and it's like, oh, we're going to use.
And then it's wedding time.
Yeah, and we're going to use this conveniently. Oh yeah, the wedding's utterly forgettable.
Oh yeah, you see them all marching off, don't you? You see Jimmy Smits, don't you?
That's right. And he's like,
Bail Organa.
And he's like, are you sure you want to have this massive army? And Palpatine's like, well, I'll just keep them on hand for now, just in case we need them. You never know. For a rainy day.
Put them back in the box if we're not finished with them.
I mean, they must be rattling out these clones. Well, they say at Kamino, don't they? We've done 250,000 and there's 1 million on the way. But I'm sure the rest of the films, they're cracking through some clones.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember the Clone Wars episode that talks about Cypher Dyas. So Cypher Dyas has basically just gone to these cloners secretly on his own agenda, or is he working for Sidious Palpatine at the time? I don't know. And basically ordered all these. What's he paying with? Is he maxing out his credit cards? What's going on here? I don't know. And then Dooku must get involved in it somehow, because the cloners talk about the Tyrannus, don't they, or something like that? Or was it Jango says Tyrannus? So I'm not quite sure the timeline of how that's happened.
Do you get to choose your own Sith name? Like Darth Tyrannus, that's a bit of a one, and Sidious, Maul, and Vader. You've got some good names.
So you take a bad word or a spook like Insidious and turn it to Sidious.
Yeah.
Tyrant, tyrannical becomes Tyrannus, I guess.
Yeah, or Tyrannosaurus Rex, yeah.
Or Tyrannosaurus, so it sounds a bit like that. Maul, because obviously when you're attacked by something, you're mauled by something. So you just got to think of a sort of a negative word, like ferocious, and you just become Darth Ferris.
Fair enough. There you go.
That's not bad, actually.
That's all right, that is. You can take that one, Rob. That's your Sith name from now on.
Yeah. There you go.
So, all in all, I actually enjoyed this way more than I remembered, and it kind of got me.
I think the good bits easily outweigh the bad bits.
Yes.
And the romance bits are dreadful, and the acting and the chemistry between those two from the love story bit is really poor.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan looks like he's having fun, and he's trying to channel a bit more of the sarky, have fun Han Solo vibes. He's trying to bring a bit of that, so it's not so somber. All the Flash Gordon, the old style gladiator stuff, the Jedi fight, all the clone trooper fight. There's loads of good stuff in this. I think it's okay.
Yeah,
I think it's right.
It's good. I enjoyed it. Now I remember Revenge of the Sith. I remember enjoying this one a lot. Now I like what's his name now? The android with the four arms.
Grievous.
General Grievous. I remember liking him a lot. I remember liking the ship battle at the start. I remember their entry into Sidious's ship. All of that. I remember lots of good stuff. The fighting must have. So I'm looking forward to this one a lot. I think this will be a good third film.
Yeah, you've. I can't be bothered. I'm not going to. I haven't got time to watch all the Clone Wars cartoons again.
I am slowly. Yeah.
I'm tempted to watch the last 4 episodes of the final season because it kind of overlaps with the Order 66 stuff, and it's brilliant. And I think I might just watch that before I watch Revenge of the Sith, ready to talk about that.
Well, I'm just going to wait and watch. I'm watching the Clone Wars in order.
I think with Clone Wars, because time's of the essence, and you haven't got, if you can't be bothered to wade through the whole series, there's only a few key episodes in the first couple of seasons, really.
Well, I'm going through that. Yeah.
4 starts gets interesting. 5's really, really good. 6, I think there's a season that doesn't have Ahsoka in it. It's not great. This is just okay, but then there's some good. The stuff about the clones trying to figure out about the Order 66 before it happens is brilliant.
Here's something I don't know.
Great stuff in it.
When do stormtroopers stop being clones and then become individual people? Because Finn isn't a clone, obviously, of Jango Fett. Or does it happen earlier? I can't remember.
So I guess after Revenge of the Sith, when the Empire have essentially won, they're not in such a hurry to keep making tons of clones because they basically recruit people from the places that they've overthrown to just join. So I think it's one of those. Come join the Empire, be a stormtrooper, like join the art.
Have you just made that up? It's very convincing. Very convincing.
I assume that's what's happened.
Well, that's good.
What's happening, isn't it? I don't know.
I don't know. Very good to know. So yes, I enjoyed that a lot, Rob. So I think we'll leave it there for tonight. So, folks, if you agree, disagree, if you think droid factories are the best, if you think Count Dooku's deep voice style of Sith is the best as well, drop us a line. We have been watching podcast@gmail.com. On Twitter, it's @WHBW Podcast, and over on Instagram, it's We Have Been Watching Podcast. Take care, guys. We will see you soon, and may the Force be with you. He's not going to say anything. Bye. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.